Hello, my name is Jonathan Powell, and today I'll be presenting about drones in agriculture. We've all heard about drone use in the military, and many of us may even have experienced drones in a hobbyist setting. But one of the most exciting possibilities in drones is their use in agriculture. You see, drones help solve a fundamental issue in today's world for agriculture, namely how to get relevant data to help improve results. We've all had issues like this, where we have to make a decision, but we don't have the best data to do it with. We have to decide between gathering more data, which may be costly or time consuming, or we can trudge ahead and make the decision, but it may be an inefficient one. Drones help bring a lot of data that was previously cost prohibitive and time consuming to gather within the reach of an average farmer. They can see the current state of the crops in the field, even down to an individual plant level. With this data, much can be ascertained. With this data, farmers can decide the best time to harvest. They can improve the efficiency of their use of water, pesticides, and fertilizer, allowing them to increase crop yields while decreasing the use of all three of these. They can make localized decisions on usage of each based on the topography of the land, on how well the crops are doing right now and have done in the past, on last year's harvest. And they can pretty much in real time see how their plants are doing in relation to any changes that they've made to a certain section of the field. So let's say they can put more fertilizer on one part of the field than on another part of the field and see the improvement in crop usage in real time as opposed to having to wait till harvest, and make economic decisions based on that. Before, to gather all this data, images had to be taken with satellites or by manned aircraft. Both of these things are extremely expensive to have done. Manned aircraft can cost around $1,000 an hour to have flown over the land, and satellites generally don't take the best pictures, and you have to hire a satellite to do it, which isn't something that you're going to be wanting to do every day. With drones, however, this information can be taken every day if necessary, with only the recurring cost of refueling or charging the drone. Sometimes, even the cost of having someone constantly piloting the drone can be avoided with autopilots designed to sweep the field without any human interaction. Here we have data gathered by a drone of an orange grove. As you can see, this is a very large grove, so gathering all this data by hand would be extremely time consuming, and without meticulous recording, gathering any big trends from it would be very difficult. With this data here, in one day we can see the healthiness of all the trees in the grove. The green represents a tree doing very well, yellow represents a tree doing moderately well, and orange represents a tree doing that it's extremely stressed. As you can see, a lot of this grove is green, but some of the grove is yellow, so those plants could most likely be improved, or those plants' growing conditions could most likely be improved. In this case, the farmer believed that some of their trees were not getting watered properly. So with this data, they can see that in fact some of their trees aren't being given the proper nutrients, and they can increase watering in these specific areas as opposed to wasting water on the trees that are already doing well, maybe even harming their productivity. Let's say the farmer goes and fixes the watering in those areas. He doesn't have to wait till the harvest to see how the plants are doing and if they're producing appropriately after he made the change. He can take a time lapse of this field using the drone and see if the plants improve that were doing not as well, or if they don't improve or even revert to a worse state. Then he can take back the change, make a different change, and overall increase the productivity without having to expend a lot of time gathering data. There are two main types of drones that can be used: small fixed-wing airplanes and multi-blade helicopters. Each of these has their pros and cons. With the airplane, you have faster speeds, You have longer range, better battery life, they can carry heavier things, while with a multi-blade helicopter, you have the ability to hover in place, change speed and direction quickly, and generally it's much easier to pilot, and the takeoff and landing does not require as much space. As with all new technology, there are barriers to entry for drones in agriculture. One of them is the cost. You have to either purchase a drone or hire a company to do it for you. You have to spend the time to maintain the drone and learn how to use the drone. There's also the issue of training. Many people in the farming industry have no ideas how to work with drones, though this can be circumvented with either hiring someone to do it for you or trying to get a drone that autopilots itself, so it takes less training to use. But one of the main barriers to entry for this is FAA regulations currently, which make it nigh impossible to use a drone for commercial purposes inside the United States. Currently at this time, FAA regulations make it almost impossible for any commercial entity to use drones. It's merely a hobbyist activity. The FAA does know about the commercial applications of drones and have proposed some regulations, such as having a max height, only being able to fly them during the daytime, and making sure they're within the line of sight of a licensed operator at all times. These regulations shut down many of the ideas that companies have for using drones, but in the agriculture space, these regulations are easily worked around. While these regulations do shut down the idea of using an autopilot with the drone to reduce the human interaction and only require the farmer to have maintenance done on the drone, the other regulations, such as maintaining a line of sight and only being able to fly over someone that's part of the operation of flying a drone, are much easier on a farm. With the current FAA regulations slated to come out in 2017, currently drones in agriculture are on hold. With the ability of drones in agriculture to increase crop output while decreasing the use of water, pesticides, and fertilizer, we need the FAA to implement regulations that allow for safe, innovative uses of drones. So in summary, drones will allow farmers to increase the efficiency of their farms, decreasing their usage of water, fertilizer, and pesticides while increasing the production of a given amount of land. If you want to help drones take off in the agriculture business, please talk to the FAA about implementing regulations that will allow this technology to be used in a safe manner and not blocking it completely. Thank you for your time and have a good day.